So another week of Tigers baseball has come and gone as the Tigers continue now their run to become the top team in baseball. Not just the American League no more, now the top team in baseball. As they enter this week in a dogfight with the Phillies, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Yankees to be the top team in baseball. Of course, the Tigers this week got off to a rough start, as they got belted to ass by the St. Louis Cardinals, as St. Louis is trying to catch the Cubs in the NL standings. But the Tigers, after the first game of the series against the Cardinals, they told St. Louis, no, we don't give a fuck that you're trying to catch Chicago. You can go catch them all another time. As the Tigers bounced back after that and won the last two games of the series, scoring 5 runs each in both games, and then defense and pitching shut them down after that. And yeah, they claimed 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals to keep ahead in the AL. But of course, after that then came the 4-game series against Cleveland. The first time the Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians have crossed paths since the events of last year's divisional round series, when the Tigers got heartbroken in 5 games against the Guardians. And Detroit would proceed to have their heart ripped out by Cleveland again, as Cleveland destroyed them in the first game of the series. Oof. And then the next 2 games, the Tigers had late leads, only for Cleveland to come from behind in both games, even winning one in extra innings, 7-5. God damn it, it just seems like no matter how good the Tigers are, they just don't seem to match up well against Cleveland. Hey, it happens. There are just some teams you match up well against and some you just don't match up well against. And Cleveland just happens to be the Tigers' kryptonite. No matter what they do, they never seem to do well against fucking Cleveland. Just happens. Of course, on the Tigers, they would win the last game of the series against Cleveland. In the game that Tariq Skubal starts. And Skubal once again shown why he's the best pitcher in baseball. Just completely shut Cleveland down. Even ending the game on a 103-mile fastball to complete a 5-0 shutout. Not a no-hitter, but a shutout nonetheless. Also, ending the game on a pitch over 100 miles an hour. God damn. This is all the proof that the Tigers need to extend fucking Tariq Skubal and not give him another 1-year pity deal. Especially since Skubal's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. And I'll tell you right now, Chris, if you don't give him the bag, someone will. And God help everybody if he ends up going to the Dodgers next year, if the Dodgers go on another spending spree. Maybe. It all depends on what happens with the CBA deal, since the current MLB CBA expires at the end of the year. And there's been a lot of talks about putting a salary cap in baseball, which honestly the salary cap should have been put in decades ago. Honestly, baseball does need a salary cap floor and a ceiling. And it's probably why we're going to be heading to another lockout after this season. God help us all on that one, too. But honestly, Chris Ilitch needs to stop being a cheap fucking prick and just extend Skubal, right? Give him the contract he rightfully deserves. Not some stupid 1-year, $10, $12 million pity deal. Actually give him the bag. Give him a 7-8 year deal. And actually give him the fucking bag for once, you stupid bastard. But honestly, even though the Tigers struggled against Cleveland, they at least won the last game. No one prevented the sweep. And even despite that, though, the Tigers still remain the top of the AL Central, and still have a big cushion against Cleveland. The question is, though, does losing 3 of 4 early in the year come back to cost the Tigers later in the season? I know it's the end of May, and we're now officially 50 games into the season. We're already past that 50-game threshold to see if people will actually care or not. And I think a lot of people in Detroit will care about the Tigers this summer, especially considering, considering that Pistons and Red Wings season's already over. At least something to pass the time until Lions football starts up back in September. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to care about Tigers baseball, considering they're one of the top teams in baseball right now. Like, they're in a dogfight with Philadelphia. Philly just has a slight edge because Philadelphia has a game in hand over Detroit right now. But, you know, still early in the season, a lot can change, though, as they're 54 games down. Still a long ways to go, as we're now approaching the end of May. So, yeah, we'll officially be heading to June. We'll officially head to the summer stretch this season real soon. But, yeah, Tigers continue to roll. They're still 4 games ahead of Cleveland, but even despite having that big cushion against Cleveland, I think it's pretty clear if there's any team in the division that could come back and make a challenge on the Tigers later on in the year, it's definitely going to be Cleveland. Because it seems like the Tigers, they seem to do well right now against everybody else in the division. But the one team that has Detroit's number in the AL Central is still fucking Cleveland. You know what happens? Like I said, just some teams you do well against, some teams you just don't do well against. Also factor in that the Tigers have also been dealing with some more injuries in the pitching core. Right now, the Tigers' biggest strength, and now they're starting to get some injuries on there. You know, wide game pitchers is why the arms race in baseball is so crucial. Because every arm has a limit until it goes down. But at least we're getting Casey Meese back, so at least we're getting one arm back for the arms race. But yeah, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have injuries, especially with how long baseball is. It's just survival. Just survival in this stretch coming up. Especially since the Tigers gonna be facing some wild card teams coming up in San Francisco and Kansas City next week. Gonna be a very crucial week next week. But yeah, Tigers they were able to get the job done against St. Louis, but once again, their kryptonite still remains the Cleveland Guardians. On the next week to try and bounce back. I'm out.